Hey everyone, good morning. It's me, Lindsay. Thanks so much for tuning in to this episode of Moms on the Left University. Today we're going to be talking about doing something a little bit different. You've probably been hearing lately over the last few weeks about calling your member of Congress and asking for an independent investigation into Donald Trump's ties to Russia. But there are sort of a lot of options for what this could mean. And so I thought today we could cover the three main sort of asks that you can do when you're talking to your members of Congress and what those mean. Before I get started, I want to give a shout out to the Indivisible Guide, from whom I shamelessly stole most of this information to put in video form. I figure not all of us have read the explainers yet. So last week, of course, Donald Trump fired FBI Director James Comey, who was leading the investigation into Donald Trump's campaign and its ties to Russia and or Russia's interference in the 2016 presidential election. This, of course, is very controversial. Donald Trump then went on in an interview with Lester Holt to basically say he fired Comey because he wanted the Russia investigation to be over. So seems like obstruction of justice. What can we do at this point? The firing of James Comey was troubling because it sort of threatens the independent nature of the investigation into Trump's ties to Russia, because now Donald Trump, of course, can appoint a new head of the FBI. So what are our three options? The first is asking for a special prosecutor. And this is something that would be approved by the Department of Justice. So therefore, Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein would have to approve this because Jeff Sessions has recused himself from the Russia investigation. This is a good option because a special prosecutor could bring criminal charges if that comes out. This is also good because a special prosecutor is independent from the day-to-day operations of the Department of Justice. The downsides to this are the investigation would be done in secret, so not a lot of transparency for the American people. And a special prosecutor is subject to removal from the Attorney General and or Deputy Attorney General. So not a perfect solution by any means. The second option that you may have heard going around is an independent counsel, someone that is authorized by Congress, who's given authority by Congress to look into the matter. There are a lot of benefits to this. Again, this is very independent, isn't necessarily subject to restrictions on from the Department of Justice. The downside to this, thank you, is that this requires Congress to pass a law, which is subject to veto. And so for Congress to appoint an independent counsel, they would have to do so with a veto-proof majority, which is 2/3 of both houses, which at this point it looks like is not going to happen. The last of the three main options is to establish an independent commission authorized by Congress. This would, again, be created by Congress, would probably not have the right to press criminal charges, would really only have subpoena power. This worked fairly well with the 9/11 Commission. Again, the downside to this is this would force Congress to pass a law, which, again, it seems like it'd be really hard to get 2/3 of both houses to do this. So at this point, Indivisible is calling for the Department of Justice to appoint a special prosecutor. You don't necessarily have to agree or disagree with that. Just I thought it would be helpful for us as people that are calling our members of Congress to kind of know what we're asking. Hopefully this has been a good explainer on sort of the different options we have when asking Congress to deal with the Trump-Russia investigation. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you next week.